So
It's like, people say we can dial into the meter.
Sorry?
Yes.
Or tune in to this radio station. What's that? Always,
So Dante, we're live?
24.
Okay. All right, we are now calling this meeting of the Brooklyn Community Board 9 Executive Committee together. Calling to order. Madam Secretary, please note the time, 7:09 p.m. All right, I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening for this Executive Committee meeting. This is April, which means we have 2 meetings left after that. This year's really been going by, and I just want to start off by saying thank you so much to all the chairs and to all the committees and to the executive officers for all the hard work you put in throughout this year. I really appreciate it, and this is great work you're doing on behalf of our community. So thank you so much for that. All right, we are now going to go into item number 2, which is going to be our committee chair check-ins. Well, actually, before I do that, if we just call attendance, we just do roll call for the officers. Please introduce yourselves.
Fred Baptiste,
Present.
Eva Narver, Elise Robertson, Linda Watson Lord, that's me, Mina Lecote, Nicholas Almanar, and Catherine, who is absent.
All right, thank you so much for that. All right, so we are now going to go into item 2, which is going to be the committee chair check-ins. The chair, we just start first. Suki, what should we begin? Lead us off.
Okay. Okay, so we had a good discussion about a number of things. The potential rezoning request coming up at 600 Utica Avenue, which is the Ace Lumber. It's going to be another big one, needless to say. What else did we talk about? We talked about the new ELERP. Again, there's going to be rulemaking for it with the City Planning Commission, and this is important because right now it's very open. Developers can ask for an upzoning just about anywhere in the city with very few restrictions. Well, actually, that's not true. One of the things we talked about was that in the medium density districts, it's very, very targeted at our district because we don't have contextual zoning. The contextually zoned districts are explicitly protected from this. This is something, there's no requirement for affordable housing, unlike what we had before. So this is potentially a very big giveaway. We talked about, so we don't have any action items per se. We did pass a motion to request clarification on some of the land use procedures around 681 Clarkson, which is the big Vital Brooklyn site at Kingsborough Psych. It's a state-owned property, and under state law, when they're selling to the property, and they need to, it can be done by mayor, right? So when the city is selling a property, it can be done by mayoral approval, but it needs to go through the city council, and the city council has the right to disapprove. So the request is to clarify whether the city council actually received that notice. And so Dante thought we could just have the office send it out. It would be faster than passing it through the full board, because it's not a resolution expressing an opinion, it's just a request for clarification. And also our ELERP Town Hall is coming up, the first of 2. We're gonna do one in the eastern half of the district, one in the western half of the district. And Dante, I think this one's gonna be at BBG, right? It's not gonna be that big, but hopefully that means we'll fill the auditorium and it'll be Zoom hybrid, so more people can join on Zoom. It'll be Monday, May 4th, which is a weekday evening. And so we hope that people come out.
what is it?
Where is it?
At the Brooklyn Botanic Gardens.
And
1,000. Washington,
Yeah, cool.
1000.
What was the date for that first one?
May
May
4th.
May 4th. Thank you.
And our
That's the first
second one will be, our second one on the eastern half of the district, which I haven't gotten a location for yet, will be in the first week of June.
Are these meant to explain or to invite comments or?
So I think this is gonna be like sort of a visioning type of thing, you know, get people's general take on land use in the district, what they wanna see, what they don't wanna see, you know, and then maybe some basic explainers, maybe it'll focus on certain sites or certain, you know,
Are other community boards doing this kind of thing?
I don't know. This is just us, cause we've never done this before.
We're bleeding edge over here, so it's good. All right, does that conclude your report?
Yes.
Okay. Questions from the officers? Ms. Watson, do you have any questions?
No, and my question I talked to her after this meeting.
Sure.
My question is, how do we do a contextual protection? Is it too late to do it for these communities?
You can always ask, I mean, a lot of people on my committee are uncomfortable with giving city planning a blank check. So the best is to know what it is that you want and to request exactly what it is that you want. And, you know, the commission can only say no, right? And if they say no, then you just withdraw your request, go away, right? And you hope for a better day. That's what I would say.
And just as some more backdrop with that, so that has been a conversation with regards to contextual zoning. That is something that the last few administrations have not been for, primarily because they've been looking to do upzonings, especially in certain areas. CB9 has been one of those areas, so.
Okay, but for Washington Avenue, because we were in court, pertaining to the height, I mean, I guess that area is already protected because we already went to court. So we don't need to do a protective or contextual kind of protection.
It's already a contextual zone. You know, it's up to you if you want to change it
I see.
to a lower zone. I wouldn't recommend changing it to a higher
No,
zone.
I don't
'cause
want
you're
to
all-
open it, I just wanted
Yeah.
to make sure that
Yeah.
that was
But
protected.
that one block already has a height limit.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But the rest of CB9 really does not, so that's an issue.
All right, that was it, thank you.
All right, thank you for the report, and no action items. Thank you for those other updates. Okay, all right. And as with regards to the request for the clarification, I agree with the district manager is probably more efficient and effective if it comes from the office. So if you just let him know what you need, the office can do that. Okay.
I think
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you very much. Okay, economic development.
Okay. Before I get to the scavenger hunt, Jonathan from the Chamber of Commerce came, and apparently they've been going to all the community boards in Brooklyn and seeing like what sort of economic development they've been doing. And I'm happy to report that we are doing the most. So that's great. They're really not doing that much, which was kind of like uninspiring. So I was like hoping for some ideas. They basically did the thing that we already did, which was a guide, a small business guide, and maybe like one or two did a corridor walkthrough, which he thought like wasn't really that effective, but so that was good. And he kind of just like listened in for the rest of the meeting. We basically got ready for the scavenger hunt that started last Friday. There's passports right there. Basically there's 6 avenues: Utica, Nostrand, Rogers, Flatbush, Lincoln Road, and Franklin Ave. And if you hit all 6 spots, you get more entries into the prize pool. If you go to all 6 avenues, if you go to 4 avenues and 9 spots total, you can just enter for a prize. We're hoping, we have a lot of prizes, we don't know how many people are gonna complete the passports. So we don't know like how the prizes are gonna divvy up yet, but next meeting we'll sort of like survey the situation. We wanna reward as many people as possible. A lot of businesses gave us like numerous small gift cards, so that was great. And there's like things we can kind of like spread around. There's like hats, a lot of swag, and so I think we'll be able to cover hopefully a lot of people enter, hopefully too. But people are psyched, and we've run out of passports. I folded 500 of these puppies myself. I did not realize how much time that would be. But, like Grand Rue is giving them to everyone, so people are like excited over there. And then I went and checked in with everyone today because my kid wanted to participate. So I basically drove her around the district. Lisa did Utica for me, but we made a reel where we like held this up in front of each business location. So the community board is sharing that now, and a lot of people saw our first post, like 5,000 people, so that's great.
It is.
I don't know, people think it's fun, so even if it wasn't a prize, I think people would still think it was fun. Somebody brought up this Taste of Flatbush thing or Taste of PLG thing that we had done years and years ago that was somebody else's idea, but they were like, oh, is it like that? And I'm like, not really, but kind of, you can just, So they were into it, and we'll see how many people end up. We have like another week, so we have until May 1st. And then I'll let you guys know next meeting, like, where the concentrations were. But Utica's site, somebody came by, or Lisa went by and checked in with everybody today, and they were very happy that people had come in, and so it's going well.
Check out the fish market.
Yeah, there's a fish market over there, a beauty spot, and a meat market.
That's $3. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so does that complete your report?
That's it, yep, no action items, just participate.
All right.
Yeah.
Questions from the officers?
Cool, looking good, those looking to see what
Please.
Yeah, it's good.
Just a quick question.
Yeah,
You said for economic development, right?
yeah.
CB9 is spearheading that effort. Are they mostly like retail? Like what type of economic development? Like any light?
On our scavenger hunt,
Yeah.
it's mainly restaurants and retail. Yeah, there's one medical office,
Mhm.
and that was the only one that wasn't like an open restaurant. There's like some of them are open later because there's like a bar I went by today, they weren't open, so I'm like, all right, I'll come back. So you have to go a couple times to make sure you hit the spots, but it's good to like see what the heck else is out there. And a lot of the cafes have been they have like these sitting up at the front, so people will grab one when they're leaving, and then all they have to do is put a little sticker. But today I went to the wine store and they were like 10% off if you want to buy anything right now, and I was like, oh, hold on a second, I was like enticed, so it's good. People are into it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I don't drink though.
Me too.
Yeah.
Who laughed? No, but fantastic work. I really appreciate all the work you and the committee have done. Some really fantastic events.
Actually, some community boards don't even have economic development committees at all. So
bleeding
they're
edge.
not even, and they said that places with large retail corridors, like, Park Slope, Fifth Ave, they have Fifth and Seventh, their economic development isn't doing much. And it's maybe because they have bids that pick up a lot of the slack, and so the community board doesn't feel like they have to do as much.
Yep.
Yes.
But, I don't know.
Wow.
Also, one last thing that he said, that it helps if the community board has business owners on the board, because then they seem to do more economic development. And so it would be nice for us to have one more business owner on the board. I'm hoping that might happen in the next go around. We will see.
Well, they're interested in being on the board.
Yeah,
Someone.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So
Hopefully have time if
hopefully
their
one
business
apply.
owners have time.
Right.
I know, that's the problem.
That's
Yeah,
And I know a few, and I saw one on
because it's
this.
taking a little bit of time.
I saw it.
It's a lot of time.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
All right, thank you very much for the report. Okay, environmental protection.
Committee met Monday evening. We had a robust discussion about a variety of things. We had special unexpected visitors from the 6 folks from the Fenimore, Hawthorne constituency, I guess, that appeared at the last board meeting that I missed. They complained about the noise issues with, coming from St. Gabriel Church. So we spent probably a good 20-25 minutes hearing them and talking with them about how to handle that. I guess, Dante, there's an upcoming meeting with the church next week, that will give us a sense of if there's any relief in sight for that. I don't think we've ever had a noise complaint come to that committee before. So it was, thankfully, Rob was there with his expertise in HVAC systems to talk about what the noise comes from and how to deal with it. So, but no action items coming out of the meeting. We otherwise talked about what's going on with street cleaning and organics collection and the coming containerization of waste that's coming to District 8 before it comes here. Clarified that this week, Dante. So, but if you saw the mayor's announcement last week, it's enthusiastic. We're going to expand the use of on-street containers that take up parking spaces as a way of consolidating and collecting waste differently. So that's going to begin to percolate throughout the city, and we'll deal with that as it comes to us. That's it.
And abandoned vehicles we discussed too.
Those are the constants.
Constant nuisance thing.
The illegal dumping in the far reaches of the district,
Yes.
and the abandoned vehicles that go along with that. So.
Yeah, there's certain corridors that have been popular for those things.
I have to say, I sent an email to Dante. I don't know what he did, but they started to move. He says he didn't do anything, but I don't know. I think he's been a little shy back there. But he's sitting in the back anyways. Some relief, but he said it's ongoing. It's ongoing. How many ongoing? So I just keep hitting them with tickets. And that's it.
We also talked again about some of the neighborhood cleanup events that groups have been organizing in various parts of the district and how to sort of support that. So.
Trash-a-thon.
Going to be very effective in PLG,
Yeah.
like 1,000 pounds or something over the course of a day.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Half a ton. That's
Spoke of poop.
Pardon me?
Spoke of
Eric Weiss.
There was a reference made to the pick up your poop flyer that's out there. So.
Well, that's a good thing because it's rampant out here. No one is picking up after their dogs. I don't get it. You know.
One of the first precinct meetings I ever went to at Evans Field, somebody got up and complained about it. She was saying, I run a daycare, it's outside my daycare, it's really unsanitary. And then the 71st, one of the cops gets up and goes, oh yeah, yesterday I stepped in poo and then I tried to get back in my car and my partner wouldn't let me. But everyone was like, we can't do anything about it. So it's just,
They used to.
Well, the problem with the dog waste is that, sanitation or police have to catch the owner.
Yes. Yes.
So that's the challenge with that. So, I think the only thing that I know they used to say years ago was, typically it's the dogs are territorial, they're creatures of habit. So it's like, usually it's the same dog doing it in the same spot at the same time every day. So if you can at least narrow it down, you can narrow it down. Right, so
It's what got Ed Cottree elected, right?
Yes. 71st will set up a sting operation.
But one thing, those flyers,
Yes.
gentleman that was here, he took them, he distributed them at the known points where they are, and it did help.
It does.
The signage did help. It did reduce
Puts
it a
people
little.
on notice
That's
that
correct.
no, we know.
Yes.
We're watching out for it
I
here.
created that. You could. See, he's back there again, just being shy.
Yeah, but it puts people on notice, so that's a good thing.
It did work, yeah.
And I see it in my office because I get the sanitation violations. Shouldn't have said it.
Phenomenal, thank you very much. And no action items for this meeting. Okay, yes. I'm sorry, questions, officers, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Chair Kendall, when you were talking about the meeting with the noise people, did you say that you were going to have an upcoming meeting with somebody?
There's an upcoming meeting scheduled.
For who?
The church
Which church?
scheduled. Well, the senior
Gabriel?
center, yeah.
The what?
The senior
Saint-
center.
Uh-huh.
St. Gabriel. They scheduled a meeting with Rita Joseph. I'm CC'd on it. That's happening next week.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Mm-hmm.
And when you spoke of the sanitation, that they're now practicing first, in what, in Community Board 8 or in Clinton Hill, in that area? That's what you were speaking of?
The first pilots in Brooklyn were in Ward 2, a few selected areas like around Brooklyn Tech High School and a few other places. And the announcement last week was to expand to 5 more districts around the city, and CB8 was picked for Brooklyn for the next term.
And they didn't state what they're trying to collect? I'm trying to ascertain what are they doing? Because I know that upstate, they have containers that they wheel out. And what the sanitation trucks do is that they have arms that go in, lift it, put it in,
Right.
and then wheel it back.
So these are designed for larger 10 to 30 unit buildings, not single family or 2s or 3s, but 10 to 30 unit
Businesses.
buildings.
Okay.
And the city has branded them as Empire bins, and they are large enough to sort of take up a parking space or half a parking space on the street. And they are collected by a specially equipped sanitation truck that has a side lift adapter on it. So it's not loaded from the rear, but from the side and tipped over the top.
And they plan to put
So it's,
3 at a time?
There are a variety of these systems, most commonly in European cities and throughout other cities around the world. And Mayor Adams and Commissioner Tisch chose to sort of launch this in New York initially as a way to sort of target rats and aesthetics, to get rid of the piles of bags on the curb. And so one of the questions for sanitation yet is this really a pilot that's being tested and evaluated, or are they fully committed to this particular system? There are other competing systems out there that the city hasn't yet really explored or tested. So those are some of the issues yet to be sorted out, but the Mondami administration has decided to continue to be aggressive about moving in that direction.
Thank you.
All right, so my last question, first of all, thanks for the report. My last question, I guess for you and the district manager as well, is if we can get, if we can do any correspondence with the SNY to find out if there's any proposed sightings already.
I already did it and they already said no.
This man is on fire today, that's all I'm saying.
And wildly enough, this man was in the office when I was on the call. Just wild.
Okay, but we should stay on top of that.
What did you
because-
ask them?
I asked him if there were any proposed locations in our district.
Okay, because I had copied you on my note too, sanitation
And
as well.
they said there are none as of yet, or there are none?
Well,
There's-
it's at the point they were saying they're expanding into Crown Heights.
Right.
So it was to clarify that it's Ward 8, not 9.
Okay,
They're starting.
And then I asked, are there any in our district? And they said no.
okay.
Probably a year away.
Yeah, literally that.
And we should probably say,
Literally that.
it might be us to say, thank you very much for that information. Whenever there are any plannings for this, it's good for, we would like to be included as part of that conversation. Because, I think that, obviously there's the benefit in terms of, it's like, cleans up the rat situation and makes it palatable, but there are gonna be other impacts to it as well, so I think it's very good if we at least have the conversation in advance, so we can just be a part of that.
Well, I just confirmed today a meeting with the commissioner about a bunch of things for me and my clients professionally. So in a couple of weeks of containerization's on that list.
Sounds good, thank you so much.
Question, that meeting on the 28th.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I would definitely
What
push,
time is that meeting?
I would definitely push for public hearings.
Let me,
Send it to me.
I'm surprised that didn't happen before like a wider rollout started, at least.
I'll show up.
on a board by board basis, if not citywide. Right?
Your cynical chair is not surprised.
I mean, it's a fairly
Just add to that, because I track these issues closely, sanitation has not been very good at public engagement on this whole issue. They've been more sort of imposing it as their determined solution without really talking to the public, and that includes private partners as well, about all of these sorts of changes, and then they do it and then they sort of maybe get some feedback afterwards that they tweak it, but that's their modus operandi, unfortunately, so.
Because we definitely have larger buildings that are already containerizing, right? They're using the movable sidewalk containers. And so my thought had always been that this was more or less a threat, that if you don't do it voluntarily, we're gonna take away your parking, right? They know that gets people's attention. Because a lot of people don't wanna do it because it's extra trouble, and so I've always felt like, oh, you don't wanna do this? Well, then we're gonna take away your parking type of thing. And,
Well,
but if
and
you're
that's some of
already
the, that's some of
doing
the
it-
online chatter is that you're gonna do it, they're gonna take away parking and then both charge for the violations and eventually charge for parking.
Right.
Because that's sort of, conversation going on
And
online.
in addition to that, that takes away jobs to me, because you have less manpower removing the garbage, if you understand me, for sanitation. That does
Yeah.
take away manpower.
Not yet, but
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
there,
Oh, but
there,
that's
there are more efficient systems, out there that potentially could affect that issue.
Those
And you
trucks
don't
are
think this
slow
one-
though. Those trucks are damn slow. I think New York's strongest are faster.
Right.
But, sorry, going back, 40 years ago, the city had 3-person trucks, right?
Right,
And then this year we have 2-person.
right,
So
right.
there's another step in that.
Well, again, I'm talking at a union perspective, because we always like to keep our
Yeah.
members.
But when the robots come, this is also.
Like I say, you have all this housing going up.
Right.
They need jobs in order to move on to bigger and better things and not be stuck in these homes.
Yeah.
That's why.
Okay, all right, so thank you very much for the report and for the conversation. All right, you do a report for parks?
I guess I am. I did call him. He said he's on his way. Oh, there's nothing here of parks. So we discussed it yesterday. We're going to review the 2026-2027 calendar next month. We are also looking to still do the parks and gardens crawl and have an event in each park. But they did say except Wingate Park, because we kind of feel like the community is already familiar with Wingate Park. We really want to target the parks that don't necessarily have as much exposure. We also talked about the success of the Prospect Park Alliance that we had. We met other community boards, and I must say Community Board 9 is really on point, and thank you for keeping us together, Dante, because when you hear the stories of other community boards, you feel very blessed that we don't have to face those same trials and tribulations and lack of participation. We seem like we're the poster child for Community Board 9, community boards in Brooklyn. So I must say thank you. And this is something we want to do annually, bringing the community boards together, sharing our wins, our losses, and how we can improve on different things. We also want to have a sports tournament between the community boards, and we want to have an art exhibit. So we don't have those dates yet, but they're a part of our monthly discussions. Is that him?
Yes, mine.
I think that's it.
All right, thank you very much for the report. So no action items, nothing to do with.
No, we don't have any action items. We didn't have quorum. So, and then before that, we voted on everything, I think. We don't have anything to vote on.
All right, okay, so we will take questions first from the officers. Go ahead, Phyllis, you have a question?
Question, is Mount Prospect Park one of the parks that you pay attention to? Because of the attention that was brought to that park pertaining to skateboarding
we don't have Mount Prospect Park, I think, hopefully, Nicholas will walk in to correct me if I'm wrong, a part of Community Board 9. So it might not necessarily be on our parks for the crawl. But I know the skateboard is big, and big action item or up for discussion. Collectively, we just think that something better or something that the community could benefit more should be there instead of a skate park. And that's still a discussion that we continue to have until someone hears us. They're claiming that they're listening, but it doesn't feel that way.
There are 5 other skateboarders areas that they need to improve.
Well, very briefly, to the point that Ms. Chin made, Mount Prospect technically is not.
No.
Well, there's a whole conversation about that. Technically, it's not within CB9. CB9 cuts off at Washington Avenue, though it is on our side of the park.
Right.
For some reason, administratively, they include Mount Prospect Park in CB8. Separate conversation. But I think I do have, to the point Ms. Chin made, I don't understand that distinction. I think that's something that needs to be revisited by parks because CB8, by the way you draw the lines, has no more right to Mount Prospect than we do. Their neighbors cross the street to go there, just like our neighbors cross the street to go there. So I don't understand why CB9 would not be a part of any of those conversations. Now, there's been some movement on that side in terms of, I believe, the board, and there needs to be some things that we need to clarify. I think the CB8 might, I don't want to misspeak. I have to look at their resolution. But we do want to continue that conversation because, again, to the point where CB9 needs to be included as that conversation because, yeah, we crossed there. And you know what? So it's not like if there's any issues over there, they don't affect us because
Right.
CB8 was included as part of the conversation. No, we should be a part of those conversations as well. So there'll be some additional outreach that we're doing.
Very good.
Didn't it pass?
Sorry?
Didn't it pass the skateboard park
Here's
the
the
other
thing.
day?
I heard the title I heard.
City Council.
Say again?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Over CB8?
The Community Board 8 passed it. The resolution approved.
Right.
I believe the City Council also passed a resolution for it as well.
Hi.
But I'll confirm that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we can confirm that because I didn't know that was coming after that quickly. But then again, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions in regards to that?
Just a quick question. Sure. What are the options if, well, it's passed, but what are we going to do for the kids in our district?
Here's the thing.
Because they have no skate park, they have no roller skating anymore.
Mhm.
They just have concrete.
Well,
What are the options?
Oh, for like women's like skating.
For recreation or just for the kids, like what are they getting?
Well,
I
here's
mean,
the thing.
it's devil's advocate. I don't want to see concrete in the parks, but what are we gonna offer to the kids?
I mean, I think one of the things that we're always trying to do is advocate for more resources that Mr. Hamler just walks into. So that's one of those things that he's definitely always been championing in terms of access to resources, whether it be parks, whether it be programming as well. I know Ms. Tim has been working very hard with the Major Owen Center with regards to that. So it's the whole gamut in terms of physical resources plus what kinds of programs we're bringing in. What are we able to offer to the young folks in the district? And do the old folks as well. Again, raising my hand. But yeah, that's part of the conversation. It's always a conversation. We're never going to be satisfied with what we have. It's about what can we do to innovate, what can we do to improve the spaces and the resources we have access to.
Can I just make a plug for our ULURP town hall? This is all land use issues.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. All right then. Okay. So thank you very
Just
much.
confirming, the Public Design Commission voted to approve the plan with conditions, including answering questions of environmental concerns, just an FYI.
So what are the next steps? Does it go to the council after that?
Yada, impact, yada. I will make a note at the end of my report.
Okay.
So I'll just do that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Because we haven't really touched on the fact that this is a high landscape for that park. I'm not gonna hold you real quick. The police department can't even see what's going on up there. Have that been investigated? Has that been talked about?
Yeah, but they couldn't see
Why
it
don't-
up there
why don't
anyway.
I don't know.
What difference does that make?
I mean, the point is that you're having skateboarding or cementing the area and they can't even see what's happening there, that's a factor.
I mean, I've heard a number of constituents go and argue exactly that.
Right,
But one of the things, sadly, is that a lot of these ideas don't come out of nowhere, like we're thinking about doing it. No, we're going to do it, and it's about we have a process pro forma that we've got to do public engagement. So this was always something in the burn, on the burner. But it's a matter that we need to make sure that we're really active and vocal about. No, we have issues with this because again, to the problems, and again, going back to the issue, this is definitely not a slight to CBA, but CB9 will have concerns, and those include, okay, well, listen, it's all concrete now. Those concerns include it's all the way up there, so who's watching that, who's minding that, who's making sure it's a safe environment as well. And again, I mean, listen, if something happens over there, it's not like it stays on CB8 side of the parkway.
exactly.
And it's not even on CB8 side of the parkway.
No.
That's not even that.
So we're not out of this, and I think that, aside from the fact that, notwithstanding what's happened already, we are not out of this conversation. Because again, we have to live with whatever happens.
Yeah, you're talking about crowds, you're talking about tournaments, come on.
I think probably the next step is to make sure what mitigation is gonna be done to address those issues.
Yeah.
I sense is the way, looking at the way it went, when you go to those big meetings, the skater community came out.
Right,
Yeah.
Not enough of the regular community came out about that. I mean, they came from all over Brooklyn to do it.
Well, we need to, and they don't even live here. He said they came out of all over.
All
They
over
don't
Brooklyn.
live there. Okay, so the community is going to be impacted upon.
And there's
Okay,
something to be
come
said
on.
for that, where
Right,
when people,
need to go come up.
I think the residents, the people who live right next to it,
Right. They did not really push for that
Yes,
because to me they got CBA, you could see. And the big meeting they had at the School of the Deaf, the CI was full, but most of the crowd was the skating.
well, let
They
me
were
just say,
all over.
let me just say this real quick point, just because I have to get it off my chest. One, as you mentioned, it was at St. Francis, the School of the Deaf, which is in CB9.
Right. Okay.
I'm sorry.
And then even when they did that outreach, it was very, very structured, where it's like, oh, we'll at random get 20 people to speak,
I know.
and then we'll send everybody home, and you guys can come to
Right.
whatever else after that.
Right.
I have a problem with that kind of outreach.
I agree.
So I think we need to address that, and I mean, one of the things that I think is important to be very vocal about is we're not here for the nonsense in terms of
Right.
don't try and sell us.
Right.
If you want to engage, let's engage.
Right.
That's how we're
I
on.
think
Right.
Nicholas, one thing that I think is definitely gonna be coming, is probably like concessions, they're probably gonna do, right? Are they, if there's tournaments and things like that, are there gonna
Yes.
be like vendors or concessions?
Probably most likely, my concern is that area is neither in CBA or CB9.
So when that sort of thing comes up.
So I think that part has to get resolved. If let's say you're gonna get somebody selling liquor, who's gonna determine to give them the liquor license to do it?
Well, that is still part of the problem. CB8 as far as parks is concerned.
Right.
And that is something we need to rectify with that because it makes no sense. And even historically, I think there was it's not always consistently been CBA. CBA saying, well, we've always been there. I'll say this, I didn't know there was a conversation because as far as I've always understood, looking at the maps, that whole triangle, so if
Right.
you look at BBG, look at the Brooklyn Museum, if you look at Mount Prospect, if you look at Brooklyn Public Library main branch,
Right.
going down to Prospect Park, all of that stuff has been, and there's a certain term for it, but I mean, it's kind of communal.
Right.
So there's several adjacent boards who have interests. It's a joint interest area, that's what it is. So as a joint interest area, I mean, I've always been okay with saying, you know what, I understand if you don't come solely to CB9, because CB is right across the street. So it doesn't make sense you only ask us and you don't ask them.
Right.
Which is why I have a problem. They asked them, but they didn't ask us.
Right.
Also, but I think in the mind of the Parks Department, because the work that I have done for that last conference was to get every community board in the park for each of community club. They list on Prospect as part of CBA. As far as the park is concerned, I don't think CB9 have anything to say
And
about
that's
my
wrong.
Prospect.
And
that's
that is
wrong.
clearly, that is clearly
I
wrong.
agree.
And-
What can we do to change that?
Well, here's the
That's
thing.
my
Well,
question.
I did have a conversation with the Parks Commissioner. And I had a conversation with the mayor's office about that as well. So I didn't get any traction from that. Or they were like, oh, well, listen, we didn't know, maybe that's something we should look at it for the future. And I'm like, yeah, you need to look at that for the future. Because that makes no sense. I'm more than fine, like I said, I'm not out here to take it away from CBA. But I think that we shouldn't abrogate our rights.
Right.
Or, or we shouldn't keep our residents out of these conversations as well. It's important that, and Dante and I, when we were doing some of the research for this, we were able to look online and it's like, no, there were instances where they put CB8 and CB9, as having an interest in this, which mysteriously disappears off the website. So there are some things that need to be rectified. I still, want to push for that. I think we still need to hold our local elections there. I think at least for the future, we should entertain some of these conversations because I think that's the way some of these lines are drawn. It makes no sense.
Okay.
But yeah, I want to go for it. I think that there are things we should do, conversations we need to continue having. Okay. All right. All right.
One last thing I'd like to say, I think what's going to happen, I may not be around to see it. This particular, the pushback are forced it to reduce the footprint they originally planned to almost half. It's bigger. But hopefully within 10, 20 years, maybe it get filled up with the, that's my wish.
With what?
Dirt.
They fill up those 2 bowls that's gonna be there.
So when all when the skating pad goes away,
Right.
when the skating pad goes away.
One
Too
more
large.
question, comment.
Yes.
Being that they're thinking about changing Grand Army Plaza, how is that gonna impact the skate?
I don't think
It's
it
not-
would. I don't think it
No
would.
traffic
Basically,
or anything?
It will. I already heard from a few people from that are police, and they said they're not putting a lot of things into account. We need to involve them because they already foresee trouble by closing off the Grand Army Plaza.
yeah,
Make
but
it-
we're designing the
That's
whole
right.
part.
You designing it?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So we need to bring them into the conversation.
Well, that's another thing on our list.
See, one of the things that I've noticed, right, you look at response times for all other for EMS, fire department, police,
Yes.
and whatnot.
Yes.
Right, and I took a look from COVID to today.
Yeah.
All the response times going up. Okay, in other words, they're not getting there fast enough.
Right.
Alright, so, and I keep saying this all the time in the transportation committee, you keep closing down streets, if you keep closing down, putting speed humps or whatever, you're going to slow down the traffic. I mean, at one point, they wanted to put, pedestrian islands, Rogers and Empire, okay? But what they did not know is that fire department code says you can't put it there, okay? Because the trucks, when they go, they have to have a certain angle of attack. So these are certain things that you have to look at, right? But response time, we're putting stuff down in the area to slow down response times, and it's noticeable
down.
when you take a look at open data.
Right.
It's
Yes.
noticeable.
And I think that's something, I believe that even in transportation are probably addressing that or looking into that. And then notwithstanding, I think it all goes again to the conversations where I think, the second vice chair made a point. They're not communicating, because I think even when it comes to Flatbush Avenue and that redesign, a while ago, I know my counterparts in other, in CB 14, 17, 9, going across to 8, we had conversations because we said the one thing we didn't want to happen is they try and do this piecemeal. It should be a
That's
coordinated
exactly what they're
effort.
doing.
And that's exactly
Yeah,
the
that's
way they're
exactly
doing
what's happening there, yeah.
That's exactly the way they went. So they started downtown,
Mhm.
and it does some stupidness down there, and then it's
Like
working
the
their
bus
way
lane
over
that
here.
pops out of nowhere
Exactly.
Yes.
in front of the Apple store.
Yes.
And you're like, what?
And
Oh, there's
that's
a noticeable slowdown even for those 2 blocks.
Yeah. But what's funny though is they've done it piecemeal in terms of
Yeah.
they deal in that district, and then they'll come and deal in 8.
Well, they put the
And then-
bus light up in Flatbush.
Yeah.
Been up.
So Fred, on that one, can we ask that they do borough-wide hearings before they start the rollout? Because it really does affect, even if they're only gonna do downtown Brooklyn, it really does affect the whole borough, because that area is the municipal center, right?
Yes.
Anyone who works for Brooklyn has to go there, right? It's a commercial center for the borough. Not to mention, that's the gateway to outside of Brooklyn if you're driving north of Brooklyn, right? So this is a borough-wide issue they really cannot do this board by board. They, even if they're only gonna do downtown Brooklyn, they have to do it, I think they should do a borough-wide hearing.
I don't disagree. One of the things we had started years ago, and even this is a whisper, I had met with my counterparts in the other districts, and perhaps maybe it's time that we restart that conversation.
Yeah.
Because I think it's better if we say, listen, it's not CB9 is mad about it. It's all the boards that are adjacent to Flatbush that are affected, and there shouldn't be a piecemeal plan where it's like a one crazy lane in CB1 or whatever that is. And then they do some craziness in CB9 and some other craziness down in CB14.
I mean, it's a network, this should go through the borough board.
And it should. At the very least, like I said, I think that we started the conversation with my counterparts along the strip. I think we should at least reconvene that conversation. But definitely, I think it is one of those things where it should go before the borough board. They should weigh in.
Are there some public comment sessions coming up, like next week or something? Dante, do you know?
Yes. I believe so. I'll look at the.
Is this for Flatbush or is it for Grand Arc Plaza?
For Grand Arc Plaza.
Grand Arc Plaza, yeah. And that's the thing. It's funny because it sounds like they kind of separated that conversation. I don't know how you do that. So how you have a separate conversation about Flatbush, but you're gonna have a separate conversation about Grand Arc Plaza?
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Divide and conquer.
Well, listen, I mean, this is the same city, and this is my last rant, this is the same city that did City of Yes and sent 600 pages and said, listen, approve all these changes in one time. Like, who's gonna be able to do all that?
It's also
You
like,
do it in 6 months.
what we see a lot in land use is, with the environmental statements, it's called segmentation, right? Like legal segmentation, where they break it up so that they don't, the impact looks smaller and it doesn't trigger any form of mitigation or impact.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely what's going on. Thank you for bringing that forward. All right, let's move on to the agenda. Housing, do we have a report?
Just quickly, thank you, sorry, excuse me. At our last meeting, we had Heart Share come back. They're going to have, Heart Share, they came back and they were previously, at the Housing Committee in February. And they came back to tell us more about the plans that they were having. They hope to serve 1,200 people who are aging out of foster care, as well as other populations that are in need. Some of the issues that we felt they don't address, or there's nothing that they said that they can do about it, is making sure that the people who get the housing there are currently a part of the community. So that's kind of, it's great that you're having all these different initiatives, but the people in our district need help, not just people that are coming out. And I have an issue with the fact that after they're done, and if these people do have to move, they move out of the community again. So it's like you're displacing people regardless of, yes, you're helping them initially, but they did say that they don't have to move once they're there, so that's great. But they are going to team up with the board, with us to do other events, which Dante, I think, will tell us about. And it's just, there's going to be a lot of construction in that area, and they can't guarantee that their construction is going to start after the other construction that's happening in that area is going to happen. So there are a lot of issues. I mean, I think that they do awesome work, but logistically, it may not have nothing's ever going to be completely positive, but it's going to impact us negatively a little bit, I believe. But the actual work that they do, I think, is helpful for everyone. But overall, it's just too much in that area of the same kind of programs. Also, in the committee, we discussed inviting them to come to the community fair as well as CAMDA and Brooklyn Housing. That would be to spread their word and spread what they do. And other discussions we're gonna, economic committee, child support. Someone brought up child support. Like, how do you have any initiatives that may get out the word for people how to get child support, help child support, or things like that. I think that was one of the things.
Yeah, and I think who was dealing with that is Francesca too, because she came to
That's
Columbia.
in social services.
Okay.
Yes.
That's social services.
Okay.
That's the domain of HRA in the city.
Yeah.
But I don't know how often HRA interact with community boards, and even ACS. So I don't know, if they ever attended any cabinet meeting with the district managers.
Sorry.
And this is an agency sometimes, that agency, because they deal with the homeless, to child abuse and neglect and so on, and child support.
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And you have no action items for this month?
No.
Okay, let's take questions from the officers first. Nick, Ms. Almer, do you have any questions?
No, that's.
Okay, Ms. Watson, Ms. Robinson. Okay, any members, any chairs, go ahead.
Do we have a zoning diagram yet for this
I
building?
thought that they were gonna send it, I don't think.
Dante, did they ever send you a zoning diagram?
Let me check my email. If mine doesn't have it, then probably not.
Well,
What I would say is,
I do have one
during
question
there, I
before
think they
we-
did address the zoning issue.
Mhm.
Well, they did address the zoning, so I think they said that they outlined the zoning, the current zoning for it, and then they said what they were gonna be doing within the envelope. So I think part of what their plan was to be a little bit shorter, and they were gonna have a step back
Do
to
you
kind of
have-
mitigate.
Do you have the slides?
It's in the presentation, I think it was in the presentation.
Okay, Lina, can you forward me the presentation?
Yes, I don't think that they sent the whole presentation, but they
Okay.
sent, remember I was.
Dante, they said, Dante, did they send you the presentation?
They sent something, but I don't
No,
think
they
it was
just,
the whole
it was just a
presentation.
one pager
Okay.
that I
Because
have.
the building plan, the building permits that are filed online are wildly inconsistent with what they've been presenting. And it's also not possible under the zoning code. So, like, we really need to, like, we talked about this actually a little bit in my committee. Because we think that they might actually be angling for a rezoning at some point. Because it's much, much bigger than what would normally be allowed under that zoning. And I did post the one pager actually to social media since it's in my neighborhood, and the reactions that I got were basically, this is too big, it shouldn't be 12 stories. Somebody said, glad for the housing, but noted that each unit cost almost $1 million because they gave a cost breakdown, and that this isn't a sustainable way of doing affordable housing. Yeah, somebody else said, like, where is this? Like, this might, I have a corner unit on the block, it's gonna cut off my sunlight, so that's basically the tenor of the reaction from it. And I think, like, somebody from my committee did note there was a lot of supportive housing coming along that corridor, like there's another Vital Brooklyn building a block away that's like 300 units of housing for young people aging out of foster care and formerly incarcerated. And you know, again, I think I agree with you that it's a concern for me that if there are people in our community who need this housing and need these services, then I would like for it to be reserved for them, as opposed to us taking on the burdens and the obligations that other communities don't want to take responsibility for. So I don't know if there's any way that we can work with the agencies and with the nonprofit to prioritize our residents.
And they said that some of that Housing Connect.
Yeah, there were some aspects, I won't misspeak. Some of the takeaways that I got from that was, there were some aspects of it where there were preferences for seeing non-residents for some of the programs. I can't remember specifically which ones. Yeah, and then again to the zoning piece of it, from what they presented.
Something's off.
I mean, I don't know, from what they presented, it looks like they were trying to work within the envelope. It was gonna be slightly shorter with the setback as well.
Right.
That's what they presented.
Right.
Now, so I don't think that they're coming back for anything else afterwards. They seem pretty adamant about that. And, to part of, I think, the conversation, I want to thank the chair and the committee for really going there. It's like in terms of, I think we also wanted to make sure that we were building a relationship with HeartShare, where they're not just coming into there, they're going to be a landlord, they build all this stuff, and we don't know what's going on. So one of the things that we did commit to was actually, coming to meetings, sharing what they're doing. As a matter of fact, they shared with the district office a couple of resources that they have with regards to utilities and things of that nature as well. And potentially, we recommended that, listen, maybe at some point there's even an advisory board, perhaps, that they establish for the community, so that way we can, have a formal channel for figuring out what are you doing that we can help with, or if they're doing things that we might be able to take advantage of in the district, we can do that.
You know, I asked 2 months ago for the zoning diagram. They didn't give it to the office before the first presentation to your committee. I asked at that meeting for the zoning diagram. We didn't get it. We still don't have it. If they're not posting it, something is wrong.
I want to say it was addressed, but the district manager can, Dante, if you can, whatever you have, you can send that to Suki as well. I believe it was addressed there, but if there's further questions as well, perhaps we can even make the connection with HeartShare as well, if there's any other questions.
Yeah.
So, because you mentioned about Vital Brooklyn, right? You remember that during the meeting, Jay brought up with regards to that, the document with regards to the resolution, with regards to, I guess the process wasn't followed with Vital Brooklyn. We're gonna have a resolution put together.
Well, so our motion was to ask the city council for clarification on whether they've received notice of the sale of the property. So Dante's gonna write to them and ask, because we're not expressing an opinion, right? It's asking for clarification so that the community can then take the next steps, right?
Okay. I thought it was a resolution.
That was our whole discussion.
You're right.
I have one last question of the housing
I mean, it's
committee.
just faster and easier to have the board write to ask for, because we're just asking for things.
All right, everyone, listen, so we just want to make sure that we're cognizant of the time, so I want to move the agenda so we can get to the next couple of reports and create the agenda for the meeting. So we're gonna move on. I think,
Just
Salvador,
one quick
last
question about housing. Has there been any looking into for small landlords within the housing committee, within CB9?
I'm sorry, looking for
The needs of small landlords,
Oh,
people
not-
that want one or two family houses or,
not beyond when the lien sells.
okay. But there hasn't
That was
been
the
anything
outreach.
to address some of their needs.
No,
I can maybe see, we as a community board, maybe this is something we should look into. Bringing in, what are the needs of small landlord, what situation they facing? For example, in some situation in the block, because these are the ways sometimes to mitigate getting a house knocked down and the building come up. And I think whenever, I'm not saying right now and ever, to have a thing, this is one topic we should try to start to look into.
So that could be something that could be added to the agenda. But let me say this as well. I think one of the things that I think is good that we try and do as well is it's a lot to put it on the committee to do all these things. So I think we have partners in the neighborhood that we use. I know NHS, we had mentioned them before. They have a lot of programs that they do, and they've been very, very good in terms of working with us. So, if there are issues in terms of landlord-tenant issues, if it's about property management, they have programs for that as well. They do have tenant advocacy and a number of other programs that they've been always very good about letting us know. So, absolutely. So, mind if that's something you're interested in the committee for them doing that. But also speaking with NHS too, in terms of there might be some things they can offload for you, where we can have them handle that piece for us, or at least make the introduction and the connections with if necessary. Okay. All right. Are there any other committees that did not report? No. All right. So I got one last time. All right. So with regards to for public safety, so public safety we met this month. We have. So our agenda. So one of the things that we're continuing to do is, as part of our agenda, we go over the notice of renewals for the SLA, the New York State Liquor Authority. So I just want to remind everyone that when it comes to renewals, SLA does not take our recommendations. The only thing they are doing in terms of renewals is looking at the track record of the establishment based on what complaints they received directly at SLA. So with regards to the applicants, so we have 3 applicants that are renewing. So El Castillo de Agua on Flatbush Avenue, Isaiah 45 Corp. On 52 Lincoln Road, and GRBD, the Bob Bandit, as well as they're doing their license renewals. So we do it just for awareness, so that way everyone knows. And again, part of what we want to do is just make sure that everybody is cognizant of if there are complaints or issues with any of the establishments that are in the district, to please make sure. One, always continue to let the board know. But the other piece of that is we also want to make sure we're closing the loop in terms of making sure the official goes through SLA. The district manager and I and the second vice chair and the first vice chair, we did meet with the second first precinct. So there is a mechanism in terms of they are also doing reporting. So whenever they get issues, they are going directly to SLA as well. So we feel that that should be very helpful in terms of making sure the bad actors, those who don't want to be good neighbors, are identified, and hopefully they're weeded out as part of the process in terms of their problematic in the district. So for new applications, we considered 3 applications for this month. We approved 3 applications to go forward, that were presented, and we approved them to go forward. One was for ALYR Consulting on 641 Rutland Road. One is for Queen of Scots LLC, doing business as Fiona's on Flatbush Avenue. And the last one was for a new business, Fugue State LLC, proposed on 453-455 Rogers Avenue. So all these applications were approved.
But Fiona's isn't a new business.
No, I'm sorry, change of operation. They had a change of operation where they're asking for live music. So they asked for karaoke and like some jazz nights, so they would be able to do that. So that's the reason why they came before us. But you are, thank you for pointing that out. They're not a new application, but it's been a change of method. So the committee voted for all 3 of those with some modifications to the applications. Most of the the modifications were with regards to time. It's been one of those conversations that the committee and the board have been trying to be more consistent about. We're not trying to go to you're not open until 4 a.m. at night. We want to make sure that there's some kind of level of consistency in terms of the times we're allowing, and how late you can open during the week and how late you can open during the weekend.
What's the Rogers Avenue address again?
The Rogers Avenue address is 453-455 Rogers Avenue. So the corner of Lincoln Road.
Yeah.
Okay.
And 641 Rutland, that's on Albany? I'm doing it in my head. That's Albany and Rutland?
Very good, sir. Yes,
Okay.
correct.
And they're looking for?
Yes, so they're doing a new liquor, wine, beer, and cider license. Mm-hmm. They are actually doing a catering space. So they have a catering space that they do. So they're doing, they're hosting events and things of that nature.
Wait, 453 Rogers?
No, that's a
543.
What's the name on 453 Rogers?
543.
Oh, it's 543?
No, 453-455.
Yeah, 453 is the old anything.
Yes.
Right.
Or names or whatever.
Or names or whatever.
So,
but there's a new owner?
There's a new establishment there. Fugue State is the name of the place. They also have another,
That honestly sounds more like a
State.
Fugue State, yes. They actually have another establishment over on Fulton Street called Sisters.
Oh, that place is the best. That's my favorite. Okay, cool.
So yes, so they're opening up this establishment.
That's so exciting. Oh my god.
All right. So
Like
yeah.
you
So
said about
again,
the
so
Rutland Road, it's just what, because there are existing double parked cars that are there now when he has events. So now he's gonna have.
which one? The one on Rutland Road?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, the way
they double parked all the way down to like 2-3 o'clock.
that was part of the conversation where it's like there's the event catering space. They said that they're working with their clients to do busing. So in other words, they'll have I think there's a no parking zone. The buses will drop patrons off there. The buses go, and then they come and pick people back up. Now, with that being said, that is their plan. That is their plan, and part of what I want to say is this as well. I think it's important. The committee struggled. There were definitely conversations with regards to all of the applicants, because you're trying to strike the balance between, okay, well, you want to give people a shot, and per the SLA, we need to give people a shot. We cannot be the board that says no all the time.
Yeah.
Because once we become that board, they listen to nothing we say. So in terms of, okay, well, what is your plan? We may have some questions about that, and that's fine. We're also going to make sure we're advocating on behalf of the residents in terms of you're not open until 4 a.m. So I think most of the close times end up being around that midnight. I think for Fugue State, I think we made the allowance for 1 o'clock because Bob Bandit is an establishment that already has like a 1 or 2 o'clock close time. So to be consistent as a board, we said, okay, well, listen, we came to an agreement with them. We stipulated a 1 o'clock close time, but all the close times will be part of the package going forward. But again, we want to make sure that we're trying to strike the balance of understanding that SLA is looking. Part of what SLA's mission is to make sure that they encourage these businesses, because these are businesses, encourages the economy, but also at the same time making sure that we're striking the balance in terms of quality of life for the residents as well. So we're not going to be the party spot in Brooklyn. People can come, you can have a drink. You're not going to blow out the speakers. Speakers that are blowing out windows, things of that nature. So those are the things we're looking out for. And again, it goes back to for the initial applications. You're here, we hear you out. Hopefully, we come to that, and you're good neighbors. And then from there, we're going to look for other ways to make sure that we are making sure that they, the relationships stay, and that they're doing what they need to do, and they abide by the agreements we make with the stipulations. So again, those 3 applicants are going forward. I think none of them were. No, I think maybe only one of them was unanimous. There were 1 dissenting vote on each on the last 2 for Queen of Scots and for Fugue State, but otherwise the committee voted for it to go forward before the full board. Okay, I will take a couple questions if we have with regards. So I have those 3 action items. Those 3 applicants will be coming before the board. Any questions?
There are complaints from across the street when they're out there that late. They're out there like 2, 3 in the morning.
What's the location?
641 Rutland.
641 Rutland. No, that's the. They're not there yet, so I think this is.
They're out there.
Who's there?
Oh, they have some social events. They hang around there, like Sunday night to Monday.
Okay.
They're out there. They're double park.
Right. Well, Sunday. No, you're accurate. You're correct. Sunday night into Monday because because the owner, I think the clientele tends to be more in the acidic neighborhood, so that's why you're gonna see more on Sunday.
And that's why the complaints are coming from the building across the street because they gotta go to work the next day, and they're out there 2, 3 in the morning.
Right, and but that's kind of some of the conversation. And they said no, they're not going to be open. I think they're not open as late, and as part of it is they're going to be doing things where people need to leave after they're done. So that's some of the conversation. But that did come up.
This is what you're talking about.
Consulting.
Okay.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Well, no, that's the name of the company, and for a catering concern.
Yep. See?
What's the address again?
641 Rutland.
Can I just say, I think we need to watch out for the issue of outdoor music and open windows. So it's a very different thing
Right.
when you're open until midnight or 1 a.m. and your doors are closed and people are just inside having a good time. Versus there are a lot of our buildings are older. They don't have air conditioning in the summer, and so the windows are just wide open. So whatever you do can be heard all the way down the street.
Absolutely. And for at least I know for Fiona's, the conversation was when they do the live music, they need to close their windows because their windows do open. So they did agree. They stipulated they will close their windows whenever they do. They have that. With regards to the noise, for noise, if they have music, there was part of the conversation said, well, listen, their event space is like you have to go 3 or 4 doors in before you get to their event space. So that's supposed to be part of the sound mitigation for that part. But these are absolutely questions that that were asked as part of that.
And then also just with regards to the SLA, I mean, that's a statewide agency and they're supposed to look to us to determine what the community standards are on opening and closing hours. And I'm pretty sure that in small upstate villages and Long Island, they don't bat an eyelash when people tell them they want a 9 o'clock closing time or a 10 o'clock closing time or whatever for bars, right? And so it really is up to us, I think, to set the community standard. And if we choose to set it later, because we think that's what our community as a group believes is okay, then that's fine. But if we're doing it because we're afraid to say no, I don't think that we should be afraid.
Well, no, it's not about being afraid to say no, but there is a balance they're going to strike. So obviously they're not going to treat Kings County the same way they would treat Sullivan County upstate. is not gonna be treated in the
We're in
same.
Brooklyn.
We're Brooklyn, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna
You
treat
weren't
them,
supposed to
Be
get any.
quiet, you move upstate,
right.
part of the thing here.
Yeah. Cause you know, and to be clear as well, the closing times for alcohol service, it does vary by county. So Kings County specifically are closing, you know, the last possible time is 4 a.m. But there are other counties upstate where it's like, no, it's, to your point, it's way earlier. But again, what we're saying here is 4 a.m. may be the latest, but that's not what we're doing in CB9. It is not what we're doing in CB9, and you know, and I think there was some question about okay, well, listen, they have another establishment in another section of Brooklyn, and we're like, and that's great, but that's still not CB9. We are trying to go by what we're doing here. We're trying to balance the concerns of the neighbors, because a lot of the spots end up being in residential parts, or they might be on corridors, but you have neighbors who are upstairs. So we're trying to make sure we're balancing all those things as well.
And just, demographically, I think we're a pretty balanced neighborhood. We're not one of those districts that's heavily 20-something, right?
And that's people have to go to work in the morning. People have kids going to school. So yeah. All right. So listen, I just want to make sure that we're staying cognizant of the time because we're only trying to get out of here soon. So
19, so.
yeah. So those are the 3 items that we're going to put on there, and the
And no
packets will be distributed. I'll have the information with regards to that as well. Very quickly, last one.
Beside liquor licenses, was there anything else to talk about into the safety committee? I was very happy to see, on the last meeting, we had people from the precinct coming in.
Yeah, we weren't able to get them for this month.
That's why I was calling you.
No. Yeah, but I hadn't heard
So,
anything.
I did.
Dante did reach out to the precinct as well,
Right.
and we didn't get anything back. So. Yeah.
Let's stay together so much, Jen.
No, but listen, they have a calendar.
I know, but I gotta push it.
No, but that's fair. No, absolutely, and I appreciate that.
So if there are any concern regarding non-SLA thing for the safety committee,
Right.
are there any specific
So
concern?
let me add one last point. 20 seconds. So we also had Union Street also came by. The Union Street Block Association did come by to discuss issues regarding scaffolding on that block.
Mhm.
They came back. They were here a couple months ago as well. They've been working with the establishment that has the scaffolding. It looks like there might be a number of layers of issues that are happening with regards to that. So the community board is going to be working with all the parties involved to try and see if we can mediate that and try and see what we can mitigate or what we can negotiate in terms of getting that resolved. So I think, and I definitely want to say that it's in line with a lot of the work we're doing. Where it's like I'm happy when residents understand they can come to the board and we're able to negotiate conversations. And there's something else I'll discuss that a little bit in terms of conflict resolution, mediation, and what roles as a board we can take place, can take part of in those conversations. All right. So I do want to move forward. So we're gonna have the district manager's report. I'm gonna try and give a very quick chair's report, and then we're gonna create the agenda. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
All right, so we have some public hearings coming up. The Department of Transportation is having a public hearing to discuss. To prohibit property other than bicycles and scooters from being attached to city-owned bike racks, and to provide a mechanism for DOT to enforce this limitation. So that's what that's going to be about. That public hearing it's coming up the 24th.
What else is being tied to these things?
Yeah,
E-bikes, you don't know?
I can imagine. I've seen a lot of things tied to this. Nonetheless,
Shopping carts.
that's going to be at 10 a.m. on the 24th. Next up, the Department of Buildings is proposing to add a new section to the rules of the City of New York regarding sidewalk, shed, permit renewal, requirement, fees, and penalties. So if you have any problems with sidewalk sheds, this is your lane. That public hearing will take place on the 27th at 11 a.m. All of this is in my report. People can. Sanitation is proposing to amend its rules to implement the scheduled Midtown South and the Staten Island commercial waste zones. I've been saying this for some time. We are in Brooklyn East. We don't have an implementation date set yet, but if you're interested and you want to know more, feel free to join these hearings. This hearing will take place on May 8th at 10 a.m. via Microsoft Teams. As you heard earlier, we are doing a one-off with HeartShare. So residents may be eligible for free utility assistance grants through Con Edison or National Grid. These grants do not need to be repaid and can help reduce outstanding balances. Con Edison up to 300, National Grid up to 500. Please note that households who have already received funding during the current grant cycle are not eligible. The HeartShare Energy team will be here in the office tomorrow from 12 to 3:30. If you know anyone who might have questions, the bill is high, whatever, send them to the board office tomorrow between 12 and 3:30 so they can at least meet with the team, get their answers, get questions to the answers to their questions, and figure out what incentive programs that they're eligible for. So that's happening tomorrow. Just a couple of things. We do have National Grid coming back into the office like they've been doing on the first Friday. So May 1st will be that. Anyone who's having any issues with National Grid or they're interested in installment plans, so on and so forth, send them our way. We are working with our interns to build lists of block associations, tenant associations over the past, let's say, decade. A lot of pillars of the community are gone. And so we're trying to figure out exactly who has stepped into these roles. So if you are on a tenant association, just reach out to the board office. If you know of a tenant association, connect so we can connect with them, or block associations as well. Our general board meeting is going to be at MS 61, so we will be back at the school. And the last thing is, because it's important, so you all can start to figure out how you want to address this. I did receive a notification from DHS after hours on Friday. We will be receiving a temporary shelter in our district. I'm passing it out because I'm telling you, I'm certain that I spoke to some of you about this and said that if you don't pay attention, it will pop up right in front of your face on Empire Boulevard.
Thank you.
The Ramada Inn on Empire Boulevard is the temporary
We talked
shelter.
about it.
Yeah. As you can see from that notification, it is planning to be a all men's shelter.
Because the developer of that building is notorious for building hotels that turn into shelters. He does this all over the city.
Well, at $400 a night for a room, it's
It's a great deal for the city.
Oh, yeah, he's happy.
Is this the same thing that happened over at Utica Avenue? Is he the same guy? That was.
No, it's a different guy, but he's done this in districts all over the city.
He's done it in Queens.
Yeah.
Yes.
I Googled.
He's done it.
Yeah.
He's done
All
it.
you gotta do is get a hint of it and you start seeing it happen. Ramada closed, shelter, Ramada closed, shelter. Boom. So
And it is just not a tourist cost hotel.
June 1st is the start date for that contract, so.
Is there a public hearing for this?
No.
What's, when it says temporary, did they have a timeline when
That's
it's
just
sunset?
That's just BS.
Yeah, it's temporary for the residents.
Right. that's actually correct.
So you're saying this particular hotel now would become
A shelter, yes.
Now,
Now, how is there not a public hearing for the contract?
I don't know. We've never received any documents. This is the first notification we've received. I've never seen a hearing for a shelter placement. Has anybody?
No, they are noted, the contract here, it's not the placement hearing, it's the contract hearing.
I don't know when the contract hearing is. I didn't receive any information about the contract
all
hearing.
you get is
They
nothing.
likely will never send information about the contract hearing. And even if they did, who's going?
But I'm telling
Yeah,
all
they
of
do
you, the
anything about
contract
that?
hearings are in the city record. You got, I mean, they're not easy to find, you have to check every single one, like every week, but they're in there.
I'm sure that the lawyers have some legal ease as to why they send
Just like
it
with
the way
681
that they do.
Clarkson.
Well,
just like a
City lawyers get paid very well, and they are very,
let's
they do this on purpose, is why
let's
I got
do
Friday
this.
6.
And I think part of what our response needs to be is one, I think the agency needs
I
to
mean,
respond.
sure.
So how many of these shelters are in the district? I think the fair share, the fair share aspect needs to be invoked at this point.
Mhm.
So you know what, we've had enough. And I think we are going to need to definitely get in contact with the council, the local council members, and just like, listen, this is enough. Stop. And somebody needs to go to bat for this district. Yeah, I mean, and you know, and I think it's important that we talk about this.
This particular one is under Crystal Hudson, right?
I believe so.
Empire, yeah.
Correct. Yes. That's on our side. of the district.
No, you know the way I know because 205.
I think that's
I'm
right.
wondering if
I don't
So Dante,
know.
so hold on. So listen, if I can, I want to keep this meeting PG.
The question is,
So
is that
before
time,
before
have
anything else comes
changed
up,
the
Dante. So if we can do this with regards to this, let's talk. Let's set up some time. Let's talk offline about. We need to have a response to this. We need to also engage the local council member, and we need to talk about what are the real numbers for fair share here, because I think that this needs to be brought back. Because you can't tell me they couldn't find anywhere else in Brooklyn that they had a hotel or whatever they're doing this. Or you know what? Part of the problem is the electeds need to understand this, because this is part of the reason why we always push back. Because these are the things that always happen. These are the games that happen with all these developers at this point. Oh yeah, sure, I'm gonna build a hotel and I'm gonna charge this. And guess what? If I don't get full occupancy, the city will be my best client, and they'll pay my top rate.
Right, right.
And this is what happens consistently, and that goes part of the land use question. And again, going to the fair use aspect of it as well, where it's like, stop it already.
It's a way to get around Airbnb, because if you have a hotel, you don't have the short-term limit. What are they doing with Kings County? Is that also going to be housing on Winthrop side, on the back side of Kings County? I see them doing a lot of excavation. What is going there?
That's
Is that
probably
another?
part of Vital Brooklyn.
By the way,
Down to look at that.
all right, thank you very much, Dante. Finish that on a downer.
You know,
No, but
I got it on
but let's-
Friday, so how you got that?
No, but let's talk about this, and let's map the response that we need to send out.
Let the city council people know about this.
They know.
cannot-
At this point, we should just say no,
They know.
Yeah.
and,
They know.
it's
Well,
not, it's not even fair share.
well, here's
at
the
this point.
thing.
We've already argued fair share.
I'm not gonna say they don't know, but I think it's a matter of they need to be held accountable for that as well, where it's like, what do you do? Because again, there are certain districts, to be blunt, that you would never see this happen.
Oh, yeah.
It would never happen. So we need to have conversations to make sure that this is one of those districts where the electeds understand, these are the things you are elected to make sure it doesn't happen here as well.
It's happening everywhere, though, like, there were huge protests in Bensonhurst, the council member, the one that bit the cop, she came out on their behalf, and they're still doing it.
And that's, well, listen, I mean, I think there needs to be a more concerted effort in terms of, I mean, because quite frankly, I'm looking at this where they're talking about, well, part of the reason why it's coming to Brooklyn is because they're shutting something down in Manhattan. Oh, okay, so it's moving out of Manhattan.
And Manhattan, the East Village is getting part of the runoff from this, so it's, that, and they're in a huge uproar, I mean, like hundreds of people coming out to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, all right, so that, or Dante, so you have no action items okay, thank you. All right, I'm just gonna do a couple minutes, for my report. I don't have too much. One, I wanted to discuss, the community fair is coming up. Last call probably already happened, but last call, if there are any committees that would like to see certain vendors, if you have certain activities or things that you want to have included as part of that, please make sure you get it to the district manager. So Mina, to the point you were saying, that the committee's been talking about different vendors or different agencies or, whatever else.
Share, Camden, and Brooklyn
Yes.
Housing, which we haven't.
Let's make sure we forward that to Dante, so if we haven't already
Another
reached
thing
out.
is NHS, right? NHS will come also.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a bunch, but for all, for all the respective committees, if there are agencies or organizations that we're working with that you think we wanna have this, as part of this, please make sure you send that information.
Do it like by the end of the week, because we're already at capacity.
Okay, that's what I love to hear. All right,
Oh, this one is inside, so that's
yes.
a bit different.
So going back to, again,
This
so
one, June 4th?
June
Six.
6th.
June 6th, thank you. Okay, so again, I guess just because we brought it up this, so I'll make sure that I'm going to engage my counterparts as well. So we're gonna get back on the Flatbush corridor conversation and the larger conversation about, I think there are concerns that none of this stuff is coordinated. you know, this agency does this agency does this agency does this, but you know, when you mash them all together, I don't think there's confidence that these things are going to be good for us, and they're going to impact us directly because they happen right here in our backyard. So we're going to engage in that conversation. One of the things that the district manager and I were talking about in terms of training and just even us improving as a board as well is we've engaged New York Peace Institute about what services they offer with regards to conflict mediation, board dynamics. How do we improve that as well? One of the things as a community board I think is important, especially as we invite people to come and bring their issues, is how do we manage those as well? So how do we it's a diverse district. There are a lot of competing interests. We want to make sure that as the board members that we're able to support these conversations as well. That we can bring people in to the board meetings and the committee meetings and have tough conversations, but have them in a productive manner and a respectful manner. So what we want to do is make sure that we're training that so that way we can do it as board members. We can do it on the committee meetings as well, and to make sure our board meetings are conducive as that as well. So that way we can have tough conversations again. So we will get back. So I think the district manager is going to see what kinds of resources they have, if there's budget involved, and we'll be providing updates with regards to the next steps with that. All right. Just also, so appointments should be coming up shortly. So we're going to have a number of members. So half the board is going to get either half the board is up for either reappointment or appointment. So we might have new members as early as next week, which is always a tough time frame. We're going to see what happens. We're just going to see what happens, and we're just going to try and engage as best as we can with that. But also, as part of that, term limits are also coming up. That's going to be a real thing. I don't think we have any board members who are going to get hit this first round of term limits, but it's going to happen within the next couple of years. So one of the things we always want to make sure we're talking about is how as a board do we prepare for that? What are we doing to keep institutional knowledge? What are we doing to make sure we're capturing all the things we're having? So that's going to be a conversation that we're going to be continuing to have. Part of the reason why it's important that we try and memorialize our conversations as much as we can. So I wanted to keep that up with that. This month, we are also going into our election cycle. So one of the things that we are going to have on the agenda is the impaneling of the nominations committee. Per the bylaws, it's either 5 or 7 members. Is that correct?
5.
It's 5.
It's 5 or 7, yeah.
Yeah, it's 5 or 7.
7 is correct. Yes, that's the language.
But not less than 5.
Yeah. It has to be an odd number, no lower than 5 and more than 7. So it's 5 or 7. So we're going to be announcing the nominations committee that'll happen at this month's meeting. I encourage everyone to consider, if you have any, thoughts of assuming leadership. I think this is a rewarding way to, you've already committed to the service. You've already proven yourselves in terms of your leadership abilities, and it's always good to think about, this is the next level of commitment that you want to do in terms of serving the board.
Does the chair appoint the nominating committee?
Yes, the chair appoints the nominating committee. So so that's going to happen by the board meeting. Okay. With regards to that as well. So remember, there are 7 positions that are open. All the positions are for 1 year. So all positions are open. Anybody can run for any of the positions. I just want to share with all the chairs and the officers here as well. This year, I am not going to be running again for chair. So we are going to have a new chair. We're going to have, listen, we're going to elect officers. I'm not going to be seeking that. The only reason why is because, 2 things. One, I never wanted this to be something where it becomes about who the chair is. It shouldn't be a cult of personality. It's about people will take over, and the board will always move, and we're going to have a chair that's going to reflect the needs and serve the board.
If elected, you will not serve. Is that?
If elected, I will not serve. Yes. Well, actually, I won't even take the nomination. Actually, I see our new chair is coming in right now.
Does this mean you might be running for public office for?
No, you heard it here first too. That is not happening. I've loved being a member of the board. This is to be clear. I mean, unless something happens, really happens with the appointments, I do intend to serve as a board member to continue until I need to leave. But again, I think it's always a matter of. I mean, I have every confidence looking throughout this room and meetings. we've got everything we need in this board. And the next leader will arise and they're going to be phenomenal, they're going to be fantastic, and this board is going to continue doing great work. So I just wanted to take this moment to say thank you to everyone. And I think, part of it is I just have every confidence that I don't need to be here. I don't need to go up in the front.
Good for you.
They're great.
Remind us what the term limit issues.
So we're going to start hitting term limits. I know some other boards have already had it where their members are going to be term limited. They have to come off this year.
And what's the duration? What's it? 8 years? 6 years? What is
Yeah,
it?
there is
8
8 years.
from
It's 4
2020.
terms. It's 4 terms, but from my understanding, with there might be a separate category of board members that, depending on when you were appointed, you might have another an extra year, an extra term. So I'll have to double check. I believe I'll probably be in that next group after this one, so not this group, the next group after that I'll be turning out. And again, so that's another reason why we want to do that. I wouldn't want to necessarily say I'm hanging on to the bitter end. We need to get new leadership in. They need to be able to establish themselves. We need to get used to the idea that no, this is part of how we operate now. So nobody's going to be here forever.
Right.
But we work together here as a board, and we elevate, and we we're going to grow our leadership here. And there are definitely enough people here who are qualified to do serve in all these roles. So I just say thank you to everyone. I'll do it again, hopefully in June, where I'll be able to thank everyone for all the commitment and service. And I just want to close it out on that note in terms of, there was a time when I first came in, CB9, there was a lot said about CB9. It's a totally different conversation now, just listening to the committee reports about the activities we're doing, about the things that we're innovating. And all I can say is I am proud, and sometimes I guess one of the lessons of life is to lead while you're on top, or while your board is on top, and just let the board do what it needs to do to continue.
Thank you, Fred.
Just want to make a comment.
Yes.
We know political change coming in Brooklyn now. Most likely you may have a new board, right?
We might.
You may have. So
Okay.
all these are taken into consideration what's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
That's what I wanna say. Like you, I'm thinking also, I can't be here forever.
Right.
So I'm starting to think like that. No, I'm not leaving. I'm ready. I think I have one more year.
But the good news is,
together, but he was gonna leave me.
but to that point, the good news is we can say when we leave, it's like I'm not worried about the ball. The board is
Yeah,
all
no,
yours.
absolutely.
The board is going to be in great hands, whoever gets elected.
Right, and I thank community chairs who start thinking about that and prepare people
A number of boards
within
have.
their community, so that way the work,
Yeah,
there's a continuity that goes on.
absolutely. So a number of boards have already started those processes. So maybe we're not the first one, but I don't want us to be the last one thinking about it either. So we're doing that, we're getting there, and again, I think I encourage everyone to think about new ways of doing things, because I think we've made some changes. I think there are a lot more changes to be made as well.
Prior to that, you had started a sort of thinking about board reorganization. Is
Yeah.
that sort of moving forward, or just still in the ideas stage?
I think there's still conversations. There's some conversations that I wanted to have earlier. Probably not in time for this, but I think that we should continue some of those where it's like we think about as a board, are we structured the way we would want to be? Are there ways we can combine certain things? Are there roles that we perhaps want to solidify in terms of, okay, well, what does the first vice chair do? What does a member at large do? Defining these things so that way we're more focused in terms of a lot of these activities. It's a conversation I've started. I definitely want to continue to participate in that. And I encourage people to come with ideas about, we don't have to be tied to what we did. We don't have to be the same board we were 30 years ago. We should be the board that this district is right now. Okay, all right. So with that being said, are there any questions? Hearing none, we do the agenda? Okay, all right. So, call to order. I'm sorry. Dante, can I ask, do you have a piece of paper or another agenda? Beat you to it, sorry. Thank you, Rebecca. All right. So, public session. I have call to order. We're gonna have the rules of order. Dante, do we have any presentations for this month?
For this month, no.
Okay,
I've shifted everyone to public comment.
perfect. Okay, so then we're gonna have SLA. So for the SLA, we have 3 applicants. We are going to have ALYR Consulting. We are going to have Queen of Scots, Fiona's. And we are going to have Fugue State. Okay. After that, we are going to go into public commentary. After public commentary, we're going to have acknowledgements. All right, and then we're going to go into the business session. We'll begin with roll call. Then we're gonna have, yes, approval of the minutes. Then we're gonna have committee reports. Well, actually, Lana, do you have a report? Well, actually. Committee reports. Okay. After which we will have the DM report. Then we will have the chair's report. Put down as an item of the chair's report, nominations committee. So put that item number 1, nominations committee. Okay, and then we're gonna go into voting items, voting session. Okay, so the voting session is gonna consist of the SLA applications. Are there any other business voting items we have for the month? I think that's all I captured, but we just have those. We're good?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, then we have new business and then we will have adjournment. Okay, are there any questions or additions, anything missing from this agenda? Okay, hearing none. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as stated.
So moved, sir.
I have it moved by Ms. Watson-Lord.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Robertson. Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any other questions, debate? Hearing none. Is there any objection to adopting by common consent? Okay, hearing no objection, the agenda is adopted by common consent of the board, of the executive committee. All right, we are going to be meeting next week on the 28th. Yes, we're going to be meeting next week on the 28th at MS 61. For all committee chairs, if you have not already submitted your minutes, please make sure you submit those to the board office. So that way they can have those published as part of the package before. All right, seeing no other business, we are now adjourned. I thank everyone again. Time is now
Late.
I sent her the
8:47.
text message. I'm waiting for her to respond.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
You
good.
guys keep excited.
Huh?
No, yes, sir.